Hey now, welcome to another edition of Refreshing Thoughts. I'm your host, Chris Fresh, and I'm here to talk some toys, maybe some Masters of the Universe news, which may get a touch spoilery, but I'll give you plenty of warnings. But thank you for checking out the channel. You can support the channel by supporting our Patreon, which is patreon.com/c/ refreshing thoughts podcast /membership, where for $5 Australian a month, you can help me keep the lights on because StreamYard is expensive. And thank you to the Shine Worldwide for the awesome intro song. But let's jump into it. I've been putting off recording this because it's like I don't know what I wanted to talk about. This coming weekend, I am heading across to Adelaide for the Adelaide Comic and Toy Fair run by my good friends Brett and Sarah over there, who run one of the best toy fairs in the country. And I can't wait. And there's going to be plenty to talk about there. There's going to be all sorts of sort of different pickups and collectibles because here in Melbourne, when you go to the toy fairs, it does get a little samey with some of the sellers. And I'll also be checking out the Radical Rewind Cinema Club, where they show retro movies on the big screen. And I've been wanting to check out one of these forever. And the great rib is I'm going across in October, and of course, it's going to be their Halloween movie. So they're showing From Dusk Till Dawn. Now, this is a movie I haven't seen because I'm a big scaredy cat and it's got vampires and stuff. And I don't really like horror and scary movies. And I finally get to go to Radical Rewind, and that's exactly what it is. And then probably the next movie will probably be Christmas or Ninja Turtles or He Man or something that I really want to see. But I guess this will force me to watch From Dusk Till Dawn. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. There's been a bit going on in the toy scene here in Australia. I put up some shorts of finds and stuff that you've been seeing that I've been seeing on the shelves, that you've been seeing on the shelves. And what we had was at Chadston, Mattel, there's me and my son Hunter. Mattel set up a pop-up shop at Chadston Shopping Centre, just near David Jones. It's still running. It is currently Tuesday, September 30th. You might be watching this October 1st, but I think it goes to the end of the week. And Mattel set up this awesome little display stand that had Masters of the Universe, it had Hot Wheels, it had Barbie, it had some clothes. So I'll give you a bit of a look at some of the selection that they had there. What you can see is the Turtles of Grayskull there. There's some Masterverse figures, and you've got the Origins and the Transformers crossover. Now, the Thundercats Origins and Transformer crossovers, you find on the shelves pretty easily. The Masterverse Faker and Stratos and the Turtles of Grayskull figures, I didn't really see in your Kmart's or Targets. I believe your Toy Worlds might have got some of them in. Me myself, I picked up the Faker, and I picked up this awesome T-shirt. I don't know if you can see that. I have lost a lot of weight, and I had picked up one of these shirts at the Master of Universe display by was it Radio Velvet, I think, in Collins Street in the city in Melbourne a few years ago. They had this awesome Masters of the Universe display. They disappeared, and I think they ended up ripping a few people off. You didn't hear that here though. But yeah, I actually discovered that news while Googling where can I get their awesome t-shirts from. But yeah, so Chadston have set up this awesome display. They even had this Battle Cat inspired dress. I was looking at it, my daughter goes, that's Master of Universe. It says, I go, looks just like Battle Cat. And the little plaque says that yeah, it actually was inspired by Battle Cat. So it is interesting. I keep saying this, but you know, Mattel in particular are really trying to get something going here in Australia. We heard that up in Oz Comic Con, they Oz Comic Con, they set up a Mattel creation stand, and you could get the exclusive She-Ra on Swiftwind. You could get the Shredder Turtles of Grayskull on the Sweet Throne. There was a drag store that's not even out yet. Like they made available to them at the convention in Australia this product, and I want the drag store, you know, and as far as I know, it's not available yet. But people that went to go to Oz Comic Con got to get that, and I think this is a really positive direction for Australian collectors, and it's our chance to sort of show that we can support these lines here because sometimes, we're a spread out population. We're way smaller than like a London or, America. And to have them give Australia a go, to me as a collector, is a really cool thing. Now, everybody can complain and go, those Transformers versus Master Universe crossovers, not for me, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. And as collectors, we have every right to do that. They ask a lot of money for a lot of these products, and we're allowed to have opinions. But I also go, let's not yuck everybody else's yum and just also be happy that this stuff is available at mass retail because for a long time it wasn't. And this is nothing but good news as far as I'm concerned. Um, I also, in terms of news, speaking of Transformers and Masters of the Universe, we saw that they are doing a Optimus Prime slash He-Man, which it's okay. If it pops up at Kmart, I would definitely grab it. But I believe this is going to be a Mattel Creations exclusive. Is this Starscream a Scare Glow? And yes, it glows in the dark, so I like it. And we'll talk about my love of glow in the dark shortly. But I don't know. I kind of thought this was cool. Now I've seen a lot of people go, "Yuck! I don't like this. It's gross. It's not for me." Cool. Mondo are going to take a lot of money off you for their 2000X He-Man. Go invest there. There's plenty of Origin stuff you can get. But I don't know. As a Transformers fan and as a Scare Glow fan and stuff, I think it's a cool little unique collectible. Now, will I be a Transformers and Masters of the Universe completist? No. I haven't grabbed the Man at Arms Bumblebee crossover. I grabbed the Megatron Skeletor crossover. I thought that was pretty cool. I will get this. He-Man would be an opportunity purchase if he was on the shelf. But yeah, I don't know. We're getting stuff that, there have been times where certain lines, and Master Universe being one of them, where they sort of go away. And it can be overwhelming when there's a lot of it, but I don't know. I think Masters of the Universe is in a really good spot at the moment. And I sort of want to talk about that. And, if you're really worried about spoilers, I'm gonna let you know about an article that went up on he-mania.com. They've been reporting a lot of cool He-Man stuff lately. And I'm going to run this ticker. So if you don't want to hear a brief, tiny little description of what may be the Masters of the Universe trailer, tune out now. I'm warning you. I'm setting off a siren, but it doesn't really give away a lot. I hate spoilers, and I just thought I'd share a little bit of this news because there's been a lot of trepidation about this movie. I think it might be okay, and that's a good thing. But apparently, a 6-year veteran on Reddit with a good karma reputation, he and his spouse were on their way to watch the new movie Demon Slayer. Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Infinity Castle at Regal Cinemas, and they were approached by a person with a tablet asking them to provide feedback on a rough edit of a trailer. That trailer was for Masters of the Universe. They showed them the trailer on a small tablet, so they could answer the questions. It was an early cut of the trailer with several shots showing green screen still and a bit difficult to see due to the security watermarks, but it was overall good. That's a good sign. It was about 75% WIP. Am I missing something there? I wish I had somebody to bounce off going, it stands for that. The cut was quite rough, so it was by no means polished, but the characters I saw all looked good. Once again, a good thing. It opens with Prince Adam talking to a friend on Earth, and they are confused because Cringer is there and they discuss the Green Tiger. Cringer. From there, it goes to Prince Adam going to his home world and learning about his lineage, from whom I think is the sorceress, but it was kind of hard to see because of the watermarks. After it bounces around a bit and you see Prince Adam talking to a few people from Eternia, there was a brief glimpse of Skeletor and who I think was Evil Lyn. The trailer does not show Prince Adam. The trailer does show Prince Adam raising the sword and yelling, "I have the power." And you see the transformation. A few quick scenes of him fighting as He-Man, then it ends. Now, I didn't think that was crazy spoilery, which is why I'm comfortable to talk about it. Sounds really cool to me. So this person's biggest nitpick. My biggest nitpick is that I wish He-Man was built more. He looked just in shape to me, not ripped. But it appears like it's going to be a solid origin story for the character. Um, and the person had more thoughts. It was a gamble that could have gone either way. The character appearances were brief, but from what I could see, they looked solid. Skeletor looked solid. I couldn't hear many lines from here. We were in the open part of the theater near the concession stand. It's an origin story of Prince Adam learning who he is and his lineage on Eternia. It does have a He-Man feel, and the guy playing Prince Adam nailed that part down. Well, it's the same person playing He-Man, Nicholas Skeleton. There's a lot of Eternia in the trailer. Skeletor looked really looked good, but it actually looks close to the cartoon. The others were hard to tell due to the watermarks and it being unfinished. My wife liked how Man at Arms looked. Now, I don't know. From my perspective, all of that sounds positive. Now, we're taking this slightly with a grain of salt, aren't we? But it would be a pretty elaborate lie and, Reddit reputation for whatever that means. This person probably is the real deal. I don't know. Do they go around showing trailer previews like this? I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty giddy with excitement. I'm all in on that. It's after the 87 movie being my first cinema heartbreak, although I'm charmed by it now and I, in retrospect, love what that movie is and its feeling in my childhood, I really didn't like that movie when I first saw it in the cinema. It didn't feel like the cartoon. I was confused as a kid where Orko was and where Battle Cat was. It it didn't have a lot of the classic villains with the exception of like Beastman and Skeletor and Evil Lyn. So yeah, I've got I think this movie's gonna be okay, and it's cool that we're finally getting another He-Man movie. But the internet will be the internet, podcasters will be podcasters, social media influencers will be influencing, and everybody's gonna be arguing over the merits of this movie. I guess that's part of geek culture and it's what we're gonna do. And I'll certainly be discussing it here and on Geek Dudes and hopefully on the Toy Power podcast with my good friends. I'll be on that this weekend. But yeah, I don't know, it seems exciting to me. Um, and it all leads to getting more dollies and more toys, which is cool because then I'll have content for here. Speaking of, I've had some pickups. It's been a few days since I've recorded, 10 according to YouTube, which reminds me. Sorry to the Patreons, but I've been a bit slow, but there's been a bit going on. But I've had a few things I've been waiting on a while that came in, and I found a few things at retail that I sort of wanted to talk about. Um, One of the big things that I'm going to go into depth on a later episode is I finally obtained Hyper Magazine issue 1, which is the the Australian video game magazine from the 90s. I had some pretty strong memories of reading this magazine, and on a future refreshing thoughts, we're going to go through it. And yeah, my memories were right about wild articles about virtual reality sex and all sorts of things, and also reviews of Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Mortal Kombat and WWF Royal Rumble, all games that were really big to me in 1993. So that will be awesome. I also had come in the impossible to get WWE Superstars line. It's a Walmart exclusive, although some are starting to pop up on Creations. And some of the big characters that I really wanted to get have been impossible to find. People in America can't find them. And Mr. Perfect and Ravishing Rick Rude were two very high on my list on who I wanted to get. Still no sign of Rick Rude, but Mr. Perfect pop up at a reasonable price. And yeah, being able to get him was really cool. You'll be able to see the Monday Night War Brian Pillman in the Heart Foundation shirt. That is a dream figure for me. Now, Mattel did release a Legends figure over 12, 13 years ago of Brian Pillman, and he's sort of been trapped in limbo ever since. There's been a major bendy of him. Zombie Sailor Toys has threatened us with a Brian Pillman figure, but yet to release it. So to get this figure was a dream come true to me. I did pick up the Master of Universe Thundercats He-Man, which I think looks really cool. and of course the faker that I was talking about from the Mattel stand at Chadston. Before Renegades of Wrestling, I popped into Collector's Edge in Mooney Ponds. I have not been there in over 20 years. It's a comic shop, got a lot of collectibles. Still really cool. Hasn't changed a lot since I was last there. And they had the Eradicator, which I had to get. I love the Return of Superman, and I got Fei Long since I've been suckered into getting the new challenges since I found Camry on the shelves at Target, and I got Kitana since I guess I'm all in on the Mortal Kombat line. And JB Hi-Fi had Gary or Robot Number Four. To those that know, so yeah, I've picked up quite a bit, and I'm sort of stuck at the moment because I've had 4 Billy bookcases with glass doors forever that I picked up on Facebook Marketplace. They're a bitch to move, and over the years, they're not so stable from all the moves. The doors are really heavy. So I actually want to replace them out with 4 new Billy bookcases, which anybody that knows me knows I hate building furniture, which means I'll have to get my wife to give me a hand, which is always, an embarrassing thing, and she's probably going to yell at me as we're building it. And it's going to be a lot of work because I keep all my Turtles figures and all my Master of the Universe figures in these shelves. So I'm going to have to take all that stuff out and put it all back in. It's going to be quite the task, but it's satisfying once it's done. But I'm in that sort of stuck mode. And I don't know if a collector, if you've ever been stuck like this, where new stuff has come in, but you're waiting for shelving or an opening to put it in. So you're sort of starting to stack up this pile of shame rather than getting it on display, which is the way you enjoy it. And I hate getting stuck like that. And I'm sort of stuck like that at the moment. So once we are done with the trip to Radelaide, I definitely am going to sort out those shelves. It's going to be about just under a $500 investment. But once it's done, I'll have nice new steady shelves because Jesse's building it, not me, to display my figures in. You will see I finally got the updated McFarlane Toys Batmobile, which comes with the 89 Batman. I've been hovering on buying this from Amazon forever, and it finally dropped $30 in price, and it was like, damn it, I'm in. And I had a $10 credit as well from Amazon. So yeah, that was really cool. And you'll see there in the corner a vintage Robocop figure. And you're sort of looking at it going, that looks weird. And what a random thing for Fresh to get. Well, here's the reason. It is a glow in the dark Robocop. It's the Robocop Ultra Force Night Fighter. And as you all know, I'm a little crazy for glow in the dark at the moment after getting the Mondo Scare Glow and the Ecto Glow Ghostbusters. I had to get this. I had to be Robo Glow Elite. And yeah, how cool is that? Like, look at the glow, and look, you can even see some of my scare glows glowing in the background there. But yeah, when I knew that existed, I absolutely had to own it. I think it looks super cool, and yeah, not easy to come by, and getting it in packet like that, it's got the accessories, it's got an old price tag there, which you don't take off because you're just going to rip off the packaging. But yeah, I really happy with him. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to display him, but yeah, super happy to get him in the collection. So that's really cool. Another thing that I finally got to sort out. There's the glass doors that you can see. I, many years ago, bought the 4 giant turtles. And much like a certain character in Peacemaker has bird blindness, I must have turtle blindness because I didn't realize, because it had the belts and stuff, I just thought it was a weird shade of color. I had 2 Donatellos and no Leonardo. And when I did the move to this place in January this year, that's when I noticed. I sort of looked at the eye shape and stuff and was like, I think that's 2 Donatellos. And I Googled, and lo and behold, so I was finally able to. I've been chasing a bare bones Leonardo. I didn't need to have the belt. I'm not too fussed on whether they've got the weapons or not. So I'm going to take the belt off that Donatello when I get to the cabinets and put it on Leonardo, and I will finally have all four giant turtles. Now, I did stupidly get into a bidding war over him, which I hate because I was like, who on earth wants him just by himself? There I found myself in a bidding war, and I paid a bit more than what I would have liked to have paid. But you know how it gets when you see the person nudging it up, and then you put it a dollar amount where it's like, I'm happy to pay that, but not a penny more. And they're not happy to pay that. So, you end up winning. But that ends the saga of my giant turtles. I would still really like to get the giant Bebop and Rocksteady, but they are not cheap. I'd actually tolerate a re-release of them, but I think the sort of shrunk down re-released giant turtles weren't a big hit. So yeah, it's probably not going to happen, but I was really happy to get that. Speaking of my wife building things for me, Blockies have done Sesame Street, and I picked up Big Bird. Big Bird is my favorite Sesame Street character, along with Snuffleupagus. He, to me, is an icon. I never appreciated Elmo becoming the face of Sesame Street to me and my era. I was born in 1979. Big Bird is the man. He is the icon of Sesame Street, along with probably Oscar the Grouch and Cookie. But yeah, I don't know. I thought this was really great. Now at $12 at Toymate, I want to get the count as well. Count Von count. One but yeah, this was really cool. And underneath it, you can see Skeletor's Havoc staff that they had for $40 or $39. What a bargain. Just gonna have to wait for Jesse to build that for me. And I'm gonna tell a story I was gonna tell in Geek Dudes, but we sort of probably aren't gonna get to Geek Dudes for a little bit just because we had Renegades of Wrestling. I'm going to Adelaide, so our schedules sort of haven't sort of lined up to record a Geek Dudes. But I got suckered into a gimmick, and Skybound re-released the Transformers issue 1 and Void Rivals issue 1 in a special poly bag, and these are sound chip editions of the comics. And you open up the comic and it plays for sound. Now, I've left them in the poly bag because I'm a sucker. Maybe I need to get one that I can open loose so I can go coo, 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 coo. It's a bit like a musical birthday card is really all it is. The higher price tag on there. But you will see that I got it from King's Comics, which is based in Sydney. And you'll ask, why didn't I get it from Melbourne? Well, no, I couldn't find all 3 issues from people selling it online in Melbourne, and I didn't have time to get into the city and attempt to get it from All Star Comics. So I got a bit of FOMO. But some of you will sort of have an idea of where I live. I live in Melbourne's eastern suburbs, and you'd go, Alternate Worlds is 5 minutes from your work. How come you didn't just go to Alternate Worlds to get them? Well, I went on their site, and they weren't on their site. And I did go to Alternate Worlds to get them on Thursday, on release day, after work. That night, my daughter had a performance, a musical performance, a gala. And so my time was a bit crunched, but I went after work and I went into Alternate Worlds and I said, hey, do you have those fancy? I was even, trying to schmooze a little bit. A young guy who was friendly to me the other week, because I've talked about on Geek Dudes how Alternate Worlds can be a bit difficult to deal with. They can be a bit prickly when you go in there. It's not a great layout. But, they've been around for a long time. They're so close to me. I went in there and I said, hey, do you have those fancy sound chip Transformers comics and the Void Rivals? I'd like to get them. And he looked at me and he goes, the ones that make sound? I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, we're still processing them. And I'm like, oh, cool. So you are getting them? And he goes, yeah. I go, awesome. Can I get you to put a copy of each aside for me? And I'll come back in tomorrow and grab them. And he goes, nah, we're not doing holds on these. And I went, oh. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, they must be so high in demand. I go, so they're still processing. Like, when will you be put so they're in the store. When will you be putting them out on the shelf? And he goes, give me a minute. And he wanders off. And I'm sure he spoke to no one. I don't know, maybe he did speak to someone. And he wanders back and he goes, maybe 4:30, maybe 5. And I go, so I'd have to come back then? And he goes, yeah. And by this point, I was seething with rage. I didn't abuse him or do anything like that. There's no point abusing the person serving you. But you're trying to tell me that you can't put them aside for me, that in 2 hours' time, they're probably going to go out on the shelves. Like, what's the difference if I give you the money? I would have put the money down there. I would have done that. Like, what would have been the big deal to go, Chris Fresh would like one copy of each, and I've even prepaid for them and you can put them aside. So I stormed out of there and I furiously Googled where I could get them online, pay for shipping. So I'm paying overs, and just get them sent to my house rather than deal with alternate worlds who treated me like garbage. Right. And you know what was annoying? The next day, just because I'm a sucker, I went on their website and you could purchase them on their website. They upload it to their website. I am never going there again, ever. Right. That is not how you treat people. And it's not how you treat customers. It was terrible. Like, and I've talked about how they've treated me pretty crappily before. And I've heard horror stories from former staff members and from customers that have been there. And it's like, they're literally around the corner from my work, but I refuse to support a business that just doesn't respect its customers. Right. And if they want to contact me and explain to me I'm overreacting or I shouldn't trash their business, they're more than welcome to. But I doubt they'll even hear that this exists. But really, they can go fuck themselves. I'm never going there again. And especially after I heard some other stuff about them, like forget it. All Star Comics, Comics R Us. There are plenty awesome comic book stores in Melbourne that you can go to. I can rave about All Star Comics, how fantastic their free comic book day is, how wonderful they've treated my children when they've gone in there, how nice they've been to me and my friends. If you can get into the city, go to All Star Comics all day and don't give these jerks a single dollar. Yeah, I've tried not to be too negative on Refreshing Thoughts. And tried to be a bit different and save that stuff for Geek Dudes where I can really go off. But I guess because we couldn't record Geek Dudes, Alternate Worlds gets kicked here. But really, like, what was the big deal? Like, why do they have to be like that? And they've always been like that. Their reputation has forever been terrible. And we're all gluttons for punishment and want convenience, don't we? So we end up, giving it another go and giving it another go and no more. Even though I work just around the corner, I'll figure something else out. So yeah, but still cool to have those comics. They're really awesome if you haven't read them. And there's plenty of awesome things to be happy about. Plenty of good things to collect. It is a good time. That's just an example of a bad one. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. It's almost hit half hour. You can find Refreshing Thoughts Pod on Instagram. I appreciate everybody's support. Please click like and subscribe on the video. That really helps the channel grow. And if you've got comments or got questions, please comment underneath the video. I'd love to hear from you. I appreciate it every time somebody does. And sharing the content as well really does help. But you've done a lot just by either listening to me or watching. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I guess I might run into some of you at the Adelaide Comic and Toy Fair. That's going to be a good time. And if not, I can't wait to fully report on what my trip was like. And you can hear me on Toy Power this weekend. Thank you for checking out the show. I'll speak to you in a little while.